Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the charge. I know it's been a minute. Apologize for everything. Just kind of dealing with some things. And just kind of living life. We're gonna take it one day at a time here on the charge. Like I said, we're gonna give you the best NBA news and rumors, and also basketball opinions. And today, guys, is no different. We're gonna be talking, of course, about all the trade rumors, all the stuff that's going on in the background of the NBA right now. The Celtics look like they're interested in a couple of pieces, as well as some other teams, the Blazers, the Heat. It looks like there's a lot of teams that are very interested in some of these key pieces that might potentially play a huge role into free agency for next season, and also what's going to be coming on in the near future. We'll also talk about the NCAA tournament. The bracket has been revealed. We'll look at each individual matchup, and I will be putting out my bracket live here on the charge today, so look forward to that as well. That'll probably take up most of the time here on the charge, and then we're going to end it off with just kind of watching a little bit of I kind of just want to watch a little bit of some NBA. I kind of want to watch some LaMelo Ball highlights, because I feel like LaMelo Ball has been playing at an unbelievable level right now, and it really makes me think about why Memphis just did not get him. I understand Anthony Edwards is not bad. I understand that Anthony Edwards is a good player, but at the same time, it still doesn't make any sense to me as to why the Memphis Grizzlies, the Minnesota Timberwolves didn't go out and get LaMelo Ball for their team. But nevertheless, we're here to talk about some NBA news and rumors, so let's get right into it. And our first story of the day has to do with the Boston Celtics. You know what team we're going to talk about today. The Boston Celtics are interested in John Collins. Now, this is, of course, coming from Sham. The Celtics have interest in trading for John Collins, though the asking price for Atlanta may prohibit them. The Hawks are seeking a first-round pick and or a younger, talented player. Of course, the Minnesota Timberwolves have been also connected with them, and then Collins will be a restricted free agent. Harrison Barnes looks like, according to Sham, the more logical place for where the Celtics are probably going to be at in terms of free agency pickups. And you know what? I really do think that's probably right. The Celtics don't really have anything to offer the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, we spent most of our draft picks really wasted by grabbing, like I said, Naismith, grabbing Romeo Langford. I know I keep going on about this, but at the same time, the reason why I go over this is because I want to reiterate to, delusional Boston Celtics fans that Danny Ainge just really put us in a bind. Kind of put us in a situation where we now have to go for guys like Harrison Barnes, and I'm not saying Harrison Barnes is a bad player, but Harrison Barnes is not like the John Collins or even LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, I don't even know what it's going to take to get him, because he's also someone that the Celtics are looking and getting. If we look at kind of who's interested, we got Miami, we got Portland, we got Boston. I mean, can we even come up with anything? I got you, Sean. Oh, thanks for the check-in, man. Hopefully, I'm not sure when The Bachelor ends for you. But if you can, I will be doing my live bracket at the end of this. So I'll let you know text-wise when I'm going to be doing my bracket. But nevertheless, like I said, we're talking Heat, Blazers, Celtics. I mean, like I said, I think the Heat, I think the Blazers probably have an inside edge as to actually getting LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, we look at, the team right now. We look at the Boston Celtics. I mean, let's go to the Boston Celtics really quick. And look at their roster. I mean, if we look at their roster, we look at who's on this team. We've got Jaylen Brown, Taco, Semi, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Jeff Teague, Tristan Thompson, Kemba Walker, Grant Williams, Carson Edwards, Javonte Green, Romeo Langford, Aaron Naismith, Peyton Pritchard, Daniel Theis, Tremont Waters, Robert Williams III. I mean, the only one that I could potentially see as a player that teams would probably want are guys like Robert Williams, maybe even Peyton Pritchard. But other than that, I mean, the only other player they may want is guys like Marcus Smart, obviously Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but those two are probably off limits to any team. And the thing is that I don't want to waste away their prime by just being average. And the problem is I feel like that's what we're doing right now. This is a very average team with very average players, and the only ones that really make it above average are Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Even then, they're still not they're still not good enough, in my opinion, to carry us over the hump for a championship. I mean, I love Jason Tatum. I love Jaylen Brown, but let's be real. Those guys are not carrying the Boston Celtics at this point, especially with this roster, to an NBA championship. I mean, we saw how much it takes LeBron James' energy to even just carry very average teams. I mean, that Cleveland Cavaliers team that got in there the last time that LeBron James went there as a Cleveland Cavalier, that was a very tough team to even carry. You know, you had Rodney Hood. I believe you had Larry Nance. I mean, you had a bunch of these guys that are not considered the echelon of great players or even remotely close to a Kyrie Irving or even a Kevin Love. I mean, Kevin Love, for all his injuries, for all his faults, he's still a good player. And right now, I just don't see where we're at. I mean, we have this trade exception. We have so much money. We have so much of this stuff, yet we can't find a way to get over the hump. We can't find a way to work a deal out. And ultimately, it just leaves us in a bind. It leaves us in a pinch. And, you know, we're kind of struggling to just even find the right pieces to fit with those two guys. And unfortunately, I think that's just going to be the way that the Boston Celtics are until Kingdom Come. And, you know, I love them. I think they're great. But at the same time, you know, I can't get jiggy with the way that we're playing right now. I can't get jiggy with the way that maybe we're playing a lot better. Obviously, Kemba Walker is starting to come back from the knee injury. But is Kemba Walker going to be enough to carry us to a championship? I really don't think so. And, you know, maybe you can disagree with me in the comment section down below. You can disagree with me in the live chat if you're in there. But I don't think that the Boston Celtics at this point have enough or even what it takes to become, I would say, the guy or even just the team to beat in the East, right? You know, as much as I criticize the Brooklyn Nets, they are probably playing the best basketball out of the East right now. You know, Milwaukee's still kind of you know, Philadelphia 76ers, they just lost Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons is balling out, but you know, what is this going to happen in the playoffs? Are we going to get this Ben Simmons in the playoffs, or are we going to get the same old Ben Simmons? And so, you know, this is probably one of the years where I think Boston could potentially get there. But the problem that I see here is that again and again, we are continually lowering our quality of bench players. We're lowering our quality of players that we're bringing in. And it's to the point where I don't think that this team is even good enough to get to the next round. You know, I think they might be a first round and out of there. And this might be the year to do it because the draft is so wide open. But at the same time, I just don't want to be stuck in a predicament or stuck in a situation where again and again we have to deal with just mediocrity on our team. And I've said this for the longest time. I know that Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge are trying, but you know, I'm starting to get fed up with Danny Ainge and even a little bit with Brad Stevens. I know he's a good coach. I know what he can do. X's and O's wise, he's probably one of the smartest out there. But again, I just don't think that Danny Ainge really brought in the right players for Brad Stevens' system. And I think that's going to be how it is until the end of time. Maybe not even the end of time, until maybe Brad Stevens' tenure, or even better yet, you know, maybe even the tenure of Danny Ainge. I mean, I'm done with Danny Ainge, dude. I'm completely done with him because I don't think that he necessarily carries us or even gets us to the next level. It doesn't even get us to where we need to go. And I know I keep repeating myself. I sound like a broken record. You can go back to my catalog of all these streams. It's the same thing over and over again, and I'm sick of it. I mean, if we even look at the news and rumors of the Celtics right now, you know, Barnes, the local topic. You know, Celtics may part with Thompson. Raptors landing spot. I mean, it just kind of shows you. Like, look at this. This is why I understand that a lot of people were excited when we brought in Tristan Thompson. But look at what's happening right now. We're looking to possibly get rid of Tristan Thompson. It just goes to show you that he's not working out in Boston. I understand he's a rebounding machine. I get it. But he just doesn't fit our system. He doesn't work for us. Also, if Topo Chico's out there, can you sponsor me, please? But again, it's the same old song and dance with the Boston Celtics. It's the same old, you're so close. Yeah, we're interested in we're interested in John Collins. We're interested in all these other players. Yeah, you know, come in here. We're interested. When that's not the case at all. Danny Ainge can always say that he's interested in a team or a player, but he'll never pull the trigger. And the reason why is because he's scared. He's scared that he's going to make the wrong decision. And I want the Danny Ainge that made the trade for Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. Where is that Danny Ainge? That should have been the moves made when we had the draft picks with Naismith and, of course, Romeo Langford. Those picks should have been traded. I don't care what we traded them for. You need to trade them early. You need to let them go and just see what you can do to get potentially a nice pickup of a player. And instead, we're left with, we might get rid of Tristan Thompson, who we just paid. We might do a lot of different remodeling and all these other type of structures to this team. And again, I'm sick of the movement. I'm sick of everything that's going on right now. Again, it's the same old song and dance that we've been seeing time and time again. And again, I'm sick of it. I'm fed up with it. And at the same time, I am really triggered by the way that we are just not getting there, man. We're not getting any type of situation. Hey, Tyrese, how you doing, man? It's been a minute. Hopefully everything is going well with you, man. But I'm really just sick and tired of the way that the Celtics continually do not get the right talent, do not get anything remotely close to what we want, and we're now left in the dust. We've been to the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, twice now? Maybe 3 times? I can't remember how many times it's been. But we went when we were facing LeBron James and that Cavaliers team that we probably should have won. Obviously, LeBron James is the GOAT, so I can't debate that. But again, even last year, we should have beaten the Miami Heat. And I don't care if we would have lost. It still would have been a significant improvement. It would have been a significant upgrade to actually get to the Eastern Conference Finals and actually go past that and get to the NBA Finals. We should have been there last year, but instead it was the Miami Heat because they have a veteran team and they took advantage of a very injured Kemba Walker, which I don't blame them for. Kemba Walker has been hurt. And again, it's one of those things that you just have to deal with it. And, I just want a significant improvement, but I haven't gotten that. It seems like the teams have gotten progressively worse each and every year. And as much as I dislike Gordon Hayward, he still is a great piece to our team. I mean, we're seeing right now what he's doing in Charlotte. As much as we can hate him, as much as we don't like, the fact that he kind of left, he was still able to, he's still helping the Charlotte Hornets along with LaMelo Ball, mostly LaMelo Ball in my opinion, to really get that team in gear. I mean, let's look at the NBA standings as it is right now. I mean, we look at the NBA standings and just kind of look at all. And again, the Nets. The Hornets are the 5th seed. Think about that. We are tied right now with the Hornets. For a Hornets team that overpaid a lot of its players, you can say whatever we want about Michael Jordan overpaying. But look, they're in the 5th seed, so we can't say anything. And Miami is right back into it. Now that Jimmy Butler's back from COVID and he's, actually healthy, you're seeing a significant improvement. And Tyrese, 3 times, man. You're a Celtics fan just like me. We're frustrated. I can't speak for you, Tyrese, but I know for me, it's the same old song and dance. It seems like Danny Ainge can't really muster up the trade, can't muster up the strength to try and get the player that we need in order to get over the hump, in order to get past all this stuff. Look, the Knicks, the Hawks, we're in a frustrating situation where we should really be where the Nets are at right now. We should be where the Bucks are at. I understand it's a 7-game swing, but at the same time, look where it's at. Look at where Danny Ainge has gotten us. We're 3-5 in the division right now. We're 14-11 in the conference. We're 7 games behind. I just don't know what else to say. And Tyrese, I know you're frustrated. Danny Ainge is out of touch, and I 100% agree. He is so out of touch. It is actually frustrating to see how much we could have been so much better. And, it just seems like he needs to go eat Chipotle and scout for another team. I think he just needs to just retire. Look, not everybody's cut out for this business like Jerry West. Jerry West did a tremendous job getting Paul George, as much as we can criticize Pfizer P. But he still did a tremendous job getting him, Kawhi Leonard, and many of these other players like Nicholas Batum. That would have been a nice piece to add for the Boston Celtics. But instead, where are we left with right now? We're left with just absolutely nothing in our hands besides a bunch of average players. And are we going to get a John Collins? No. the thing that we're going to get is just getting Tristan Thompson out the door and getting the Kardashians the hell out of Boston, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with getting him out of there. You know, someone's out of touch when he says so we need somebody with more swagger. Yeah, I mean, you know, he's out of touch. I think that he's just off the bench. I mean, what bench do we really have? I mean, Semi Ojeleye, that's really it. But he's not a good player. I would think not for what we need. Grant Williams, they're nice pieces, they're nice guys. But we don't need nice guys. You know, Jeff Teague was a nice little pickup, but at the same time, it's just he hasn't really done much for us. And Kemba Walker's still trying to get back into it. You know, I love Peyton Pritchard. I think Peyton Pritchard was a great pickup for us. I think he's, obviously more of a 2 than a 1, but at the same time, I think that he's, kind of like a TJ McConnell or one of those type of players that are not necessarily going to be like, I can't say anything. TJ McConnell actually kind of balls out. But he brings food in every pregame. I mean, Tyrese, I mean, you're probably maybe even a bigger Boston Celtics fan than I am. Have you even seen Carson Edwards on the court this year? I mean, I can't even think of one time where he's been on the court. And it's just like Romeo Langford. I don't even know where this dude's at this point. I mean, look at this. The last time that he played was he played today, it looks like. But look at all the situation that it is for Carson Edwards. Goose eggs all around the board, all starting from the beginning of March. Garbage time. And, for a guy that was picked up from Purdue, thought he was going to be a great player. I mean, look where he's at. And it's just like Romeo Langford is never going to be healthy, in my opinion. I always think he's going to be hurt. And again, if we were one pick ahead of the Miami Heat, that would have been Tyler Hero. And as much as as much as I think Tyler Hero is kind of being overrated just a little bit, at the same time, he still would have been more help than Romeo Langford at this point. Romeo Langford, the guy that everybody that saw from Indiana that was supposed to be the next big guy, the next big thing for the Boston Celtics, ends up being a bum. Yeah, I'm starting to think that they have relationship with these guys off the court. Are you talking about like Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens? Because I agree with you. I mean, Romeo Langford has been what, the 14th, 15th pick? I can't remember. Like when I look at a guy like Romeo Langford, let's look at his stats. I mean, like Romeo Langford. I mean, let's look at kind of his stats. I mean, he hasn't really done much in the NBA. How many years has he now been in the NBA? Actually, excuse me. Let me go to Basketball Reference. How many years? Obviously he's only been in there for one season, and I get that. But it looks like he's been hurt since March. What? I don't even know how long. It's like what? He was drafted a year ago. Should have been. Hopefully he gets healthy. Hopefully he does add some dynamic to our team. But it really hurts me to see that he's not playing. I mean, even when he did play, he started 2 games. He played 32 last year and only got 2.5 points per game. 3-point percentage wise was at a 18%. We're talking 18%. I don't care if it's garbage time. I don't care if you're getting 12 minutes per game. It doesn't matter. 18% from the 3-point line when that is your whole gimmick, when that is the only thing that you do as an NBA player for your team. You're telling me that you shoot 18%. And you're eating $8 million off the cap for that too. And to me, it's like, I look at this and I see Romeo Langford and I see all these players. Am I supposed to be encouraged that the Boston Celtics are doing a good job in the draft when they're drafting guys like Romeo Langford, Naismith? I mean, another guy. We can look at Aaron Naismith. A guy that was drafted just this year. I mean, I haven't even seen him. I mean, he's been a ghost. I mean, look at, even averaging 15 minutes a game for what's his name? For Aaron Naismith. Shooting about 36%. A little bit better than Romeo Langford. Actually having a better career than Romeo Langford at this point. And you're right. I mean, look at this. WYC, Danny, Steve, and Danny's son, just all of them buddy and don't care about winning. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if it is buddy system, if it is all this stuff that you're talking about, Tyrese, they have to go. I mean, even if I love Brad Stevens, even if I think he's a great coach, And I talk about, coaches needing more time. I mean, Brad Stevens has gotten plenty of time. And I do get that each and every year he's gotten better. He's gotten his teams further in the playoffs. But man, I can't even describe how frustrating it is to see that, with our 13th pick, only getting 15 minutes a game, not really being in the rotation, not really being useful for us at this point, averaging 4.1 points per game. I mean, he at least should be averaging 10 to 12, shooting at least 40% from three. If he was this great shooter, right? I mean, honestly, I would have taken Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey. I mean, again, I don't want to beat around the horse again, but I mean, look at the 2020 draft. Not the election. Draft. NBA-wise, I mean, we should have beaten the Cavs in the East by... I mean, we should have been at least, in my opinion, we should have been at least in the NBA Finals last year. That's how it should have really been. And again, it's one of those situations, again, where we continually just absolutely get disappointment each and every year. I mean, let's look at Sportskeeda's 2020 most disappointing players this season. We got Jalen Smith for them, Josh Green for the Dallas Mavericks, Zeke. We got RJ Hampton, Onyeka Okongwu. I mean, I think Aaron Naismith has to be in there. Robert Williams can't guard Embiid when he will toast and everybody knows it. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I think Robert Williams is still a project. I think he still has next year, I think is when you're really going to get the best out of Robert Williams. But at the same time, again, I look at the Boston Celtics in this point. I would have much rather taken Tyrese Halliburton. I know that it would have been a little bit of a higher pick. I honestly would have taken Isaiah Stewart. I think Isaiah Stewart would have been a good pickup. Sadiq Bey, even Tyrese Maxey. I would have taken any of those guys. I would have taken any of them. Even if you want to go Precious, I would have taken anybody but freaking Aaron Naismith. Only because, Aaron Naismith is coming off a big injury. I understand, there might be a situation where, Aaron Naismith, shot the best and then got hurt. It's like, well, yeah, he didn't really play that many games. And again, it just goes to show you each and every time I get frustrated with the way that the Boston Celtics have continually drafted throughout this whole season. I mean, or I should say, just like the Boston Celtics drafting in general. I mean, let's look at the Boston Celtics draft so far. And look at their picks from where we were at right now. Again, Naismith, Pritchard, Desmond Bane. I have yet to see him play. I mean, he probably has played, but I haven't really seen him. We've got Thibault, and we traded him away. Oh, my God. Grant Williams, Tremont Waters, Robert Williams. I actually don't mind that. Semi, Jabari Bird. I mean, no. Jaylen Brown, Yabusele hasn't played. We got RJ Hunter, a bad pickup. I mean, this, I would have honestly kept Terry Rozier at this point. You look back at 2014, James Young should have been something, wasn't. Marcus Smart, Jared Sullinger, Fab Melo, Chris Joseph, terrible draft. And again, we've gotten lucky with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum because those two are all-star players. And, teams would wish to get this. But at the same time, if we are building through the draft, we got Kyrie Irving, we got Gordon Hayward, and obviously Kyrie Irving just wasn't the right fit. But you have to do your research, and I don't know why for the life of me we got Kemba Walker. Because to be honest with you, he's not consistently... I understand he's a good player. I'm not criticizing him. But still, it's one of those things. You look at the drafts, and we just continuously have drafted terribly. And it's just one of those things, again. We get in a situation, we draft Naismith, we draft guys that we don't need, and it's frustrating as heck. Honestly, it's frustrating to see this each and every year. I mean, let's look at the 2021 mock draft that's coming up soon. Who are the Celtics going to draft in this draft? Again, this is Bleacher Report. So we got, they have us finishing around like 20th, maybe 18th. They got us taking Garba from Real Madrid, power forward that can't really shoot. More of an inside guy. I'm not sure if I like that much. I mean, there's other guys that I probably like a little bit more, but at the same time, it's getting to a point right now where I think the Boston Celtics need to decide and actually look to trade to get the players they need or free agency and look at what's coming up. I mean, let's look at the 2021 free agents for next season. I'm going to look at who's coming up. Nope, that's the Cardinals. We don't need that. And we look at the free agency for next year. Chris Paul, player option. Kawhi Leonard, player option. Obviously, Mike Conley going to be on the market. DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, Andre Drummond, Otto Porter Jr., earning a lot of money. LaMarcus Aldridge, Victor Oladipo. Again, a bunch of these players. Kelly Oubre. Not sure how much he's going to get in the open market now. Andre Iguodala, looks like it's a club option, player option. Goran Dragic, again, same thing. And if we're talking bigs, I don't really think that there's much bigs. I mean, let's go with forwards more so. And look at it. Again, not really that much in this market. Montrez, player option. I mean, there's just so many things that it's just frustrating about the Boston Celtics at this point. So many things frustrating about what's going on in the NBA at this point that I can't really understand for the life of me what's going on with the way that we're playing right now. What we're doing to really get us over the hump, getting us to the NBA championship, getting us to the 18th banner for the Boston Celtics. I mean, it's been a minute. It's been over 10 years since we've gotten a banner, and that was only one. We should have gotten two. I think we were good enough to get two, but unfortunately we just didn't make it one year due to Kevin Garnett injury. And then, we lost to the Lakers in the second time we were in that championship game. And we really should have won. But again, Kobe Bryant, great player, the GOAT or one of the GOATs. And it's just one of those things, again, where we just get absolutely, we finessed the Nets, and we got the picks that we wanted. But at the same time, I think what's frustrating is just the fact that we have yet to kind of right our wrongs, and we're still kind of in the situation. We're still waiting and lie with the way that everything is at the moment. And again, it is frustrating to see that at this point that the Boston Celtics are still, I don't know how to say it, but we're still mediocre. We're still in this, we're good, but we're not great. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of feeling this way each and every time. Tyrese, I'm sure you're tired of feeling that way about them. But again, it is frustrating to see that we're still in the same situation each and every time. And again, it's just one of those things where I don't think the Boston Celtics are going to get the player that they want. They're not going to get the player that we need, and we're going to get shafted once again in the free agency market, and we're going to lose everything that we have going for us from here on out. And then other than that, the other unfortunate news is that Marvin Bagley is out with a fractured left hand. Hopefully, he recovers from that, and we'll see where he goes on from there. And again, it's a frustrating scenario. It's a frustrating situation, but at the same time, for Marvin Bagley's sake, I hope he, remains positive. Again, I wasn't really high on him in this draft with Luka and Trae Young, but at the same time, he's still, a good player for the Sacramento Kings, and we'll see what happens when he comes healthy, and see if, Luke Walton can't lead this team to the championship. But with that being said, I'm going to move on to kind of the bracket challenge and start picking who I think is going to be in the NCAA. So just give me 1 second as I set it up. Let me put on some music in the background as that happens. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Tyrese, and just kind of the final point before we get on to my NCAA bracket. I agree with you, Tyrese. It's more so like, it's just like, who are we not getting? It's like, who are we like teasing the Celtics fans of getting? Because it's obviously not going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's frustrating. It's annoying. And, I just find it disheartening every single time we get our hopes up. Oh, Anthony Davis, we could be getting him. Oh, Kawhi Leonard, he might be coming to Boston. Nope. It's the same song and dance each and every year. And it gets frustrating more and more as we continue to not really replenish get going. And again, it is what it is. But at the same time, you know, what I find even more annoying at this point is just kind of like we have the ability to get those guys. We have the ability to you know, to get what we need, but at the same time, you know, it's just one of those things where we just have to wait and see if we're gonna be you know, maybe getting that player. And again, it is frustrating at this point to again always talk about Boston Celtics rumors not coming true. And again, as much as I think that it is interesting to see that we keep getting linked up with all these players, at the same time, it is still, again, seems like the same song and dance, and I'm tired of it. But again, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys make of these Boston Celtics rumors? Do you agree with them in terms of, do you think we'll get them, or do you think it's the same old song and dance like I've been talking about? And it seems like I've been playing the world's smallest violin for the past 20 minutes. And even just playing it for the last couple months now, with the way that the Celtics have been just so average at best, that really we should be competing with the Philadelphias, the Nets, and really, you know, doing our job. But it just comes each and every time to just see that we're not competing. And again, I want them to actually, you know, do a good job, but I just don't believe that they will. But with that being the case, let's move on to something that's actually going to be a little bit more interesting to talk about. As that's going on, I'm going to play a little bit in the background, some music. Let me just tone this down a little bit. Have this playing in the background as we kind of pick our kind of our draft here, or not drafts, excuse me, our NCAA bracket. Let me just double check and let them know. And let's kind of look at this. Let's see here. So, obviously, we got Gonzaga versus, I believe, I can't remember what these teams are, Appalachian State and who, it doesn't matter. It's going to be Gonzaga. We all know it. Gonzaga, Corey Kispert, Jalen Suggs. That is who I'm going to pick for that one. This one's a little more interesting. OU and Missouri. I think Oklahoma still has it. I think Oklahoma, I like their team. They obviously have a lot of great players, a lot of leadership, a lot of veteranness. And again, you know, it looks like when we compare it to kind of the points per game versus top 25, Missouri looks like they're up for the challenge, whereas it feels like Oklahoma is not. But I don't think at this point Memphis was ranked at any point at a high situation. So again, I'm going to go with Oklahoma in that scenario. Creighton versus Ussb. I think this was another interesting matchup that I saw. You know, obviously both these guys have, you know, USCB, Santa Barbara, I believe, UC Santa Barbara, has never played a top 25 this season as Creighton has. You know, Creighton's dealing with the whole McDermott situation that is probably, you know, I could see them quitting on their team. And this is where I'm going to go with an upset. I'm going to go with Santa Barbara winning that game and really carrying them to the top. This one, we got Virginia and Ohio. I think I got Virginia in this game. Virginia plays great defense. The coach always gets their defense going, so I got to pick them. Next, of course, we got USC and versus Wichita or Drake. I got USC, but I'm not confident in them at all. I think that, you know, their weakness in the Pac-12 tournament showed. Obviously, I believe they went into a double overtime with my Utes. You know, obviously they carried out the win. So obviously, you know, Evan Mobley, I think he's going to be a tremendous talent in the league. But are they good enough as a whole unit to get them to the NCAA tournament, you know, round Sweet 16, Elite 8? I don't think so. And I think their journey ends at about this point in the round of 32. But now we have Kansas and Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington absolutely played tremendous this year, 16-7 compared to, you know, 20-8 for the Jayhawks. Again, I have the Jayhawks winning this one. As much as I would like to pick a Washington team, I just can't go against the Jayhawks at this point. Sure, you can use these picks to bet on if you want. And again, I am no expert in this. Obviously, this is all coming down to gut instinct. The only teams that I will say that I watch the most of are Texas Tech. I watched Arkansas. Ohio State I watch Gonzaga, obviously. The Utes I watch occasionally. I watch Luke Garza. I mean, there's a couple teams that I actually know a little bit more of than others. I mean, look at there. There's 64 teams in the tournament. You think I have time to watch 64 teams? I don't think anybody does unless you do this for a living. Next, we have Oregon and VCU. I believe this is kind of an interesting matchup. Both teams have lost their top 25 team. And again, you know, it's just kind of one of those things. I think what I want to go with Oregon. I really do. But something about VCU gives me a good vibe. But again, I'm going to trust my gut here. I'm going Oregon. And of course, this one's Iowa versus GCU. I've got Iowa in here. No ifs, ands, or buts. And we're just going to move on to the next round on the other side where we got the South region. We got Baylor and Hartford. I got Baylor. UNC and Wisconsin. Again, another great matchup here. You know, UNC not really playing the best. I think that they were probably a little bit overrated this year. You know, 2-4 against top 25. Meanwhile, Wisconsin was 3-9. But I think because they're a little bit more battle tested, I have Wisconsin, the Badges, going on and facing Baylor in the next round. Villanova and Winthrop, I believe that's kind of the team. Whoops, did not mean to pick them. Again, you know, when we look at top 25, Villanova has won. Again, 11-4 in the conference, 17-1 for them. Obviously, the difference of conferences. And, you know, I have to agree with the analysts here. I think it is Villanova. And, you know, I don't think anything can really change my mind in that sense. And again, we're going to move on. Purdue and University of Texas, I believe, of North Texas. I've got a little bit of a shocker here. I got North Texas beating Purdue. I don't really trust Purdue in the NCAA tournament. They've burned me each and every year that I've had them, ever since I remember in high school watching these tournaments while class was going on, so don't tell my old teachers that. But I think that the North Texas is going to win this game, and they're actually going to carry them into the next round. Now we got Texas Tech and Utah State. I got Texas Tech. I'm a big believer in Matt McClung. I think Matt McClung and Texas Tech, you know, I watched a little bit more of their film, watching them a little bit more, obviously, because I am interested in Matt McClung and seeing how his progression has gone. He went to Georgetown, obviously didn't like it there, transferred to Texas Tech, where he was actually being utilized. And again, that's where I have at the moment, I have Texas Tech in there. Arkansas and Colgate. I love Colgate. You know, our head coach showed me a little bit of their film, the way that they run some offense. I love some of their sets that they run, but I think Arkansas, the way that they won, I believe they still run the trap on the wings. So I have Arkansas there. We're going to face Texas Tech. Florida and Virginia Tech. This one is another tough decision. Again, versus top 25, Virginia Tech is 4-0. I have to believe with the 4-0 that Virginia Tech is going to move on and advance to the next round. And again, Ohio State probably going to advance there as well. Moving on to the East region, and I'll move this up a little bit for everyone to see. Michigan, I trust them, even though they've lost. I believe they lost the last couple of games. I believe, what is it? The last, I can't remember where I see it. But again, I think they've lost their last couple of them. But I think Juwan Howard gets them back on track, and I have Michigan winning there. SBU, I can't remember if this is... Oh, the Bonnies. Bonaventura. They've been improving each and every year, and they've been getting much better. I want to go with them, but I think LSU is going to carry the win there. That's kind of my big one. Here is going to be another upset shocker. I am a huge believer in Georgetown, and I think that they're going to knock off the Colorado Buffalo. I think, you know, Colorado lost a really tough one against Oregon State a little bit earlier, but I just think that Georgetown has a lot of momentum going their way. And I think that, you know, even though they were projected, I think they finished, you know, one of the worst in the conference as it pertains to the Big East, but they actually won the conference, and they ended up going further than people anticipated. And so I have them going there. Again, Florida State moving on to the next round. That's what I got going on there. Next one is BYU versus, I believe, Michigan State and UCLA. I've got BYU winning this, and I think BYU is a sleeper team. Again, I'm not trying to act like the grease balls that you see on Fox Sports bets and all that stuff, but trust me, BYU, I believe they're shooting 40% from 3-point this season. Anytime I see a team shooting 40% from 3-point, I'm immediately betting on them to win, just because of the fact that I think that their offense is also awesome. Watched a little bit of them as well, since they do play against Gonzaga. They did lose that game against Gonzaga in the WCC championship, but I still have BYU winning that game. And again, I got Texas winning that one as well. And again, UConn and Alabama rounding out the Eastern Conference. I know that Iona, coached by Rick Pitino, you could potentially see a little bit of a mismatch. You could potentially see a upset. But again, I just don't think that Iona has the right players to really carry them to the next round. And then let's move on to what I would know as the Midwest. And I'm just going to move it here since my face is in the way of this one. Illinois, I like their team. They've gotten hot the last couple of months, so I have them going on to the next round. Georgia Tech, believe it or not, is going to beat Chicago. I can't remember it was like can't remember what this team is called. Loyola Chicago. I think that's what they are. I have Georgia Tech winning. Alcideros are... I think Georgia Tech's defense is very stingy. I think that they are doing a very good job of really getting a lot of steals. I mean, we saw the championship game. If you guys watched the ACC, definitely a sleeper team in this, in my opinion. Tennessee wins. I don't think Oregon State is really cut out for it. Oklahoma State moving on to the next round. Cade Cunningham. I'm a big believer. I think that they're going to do it. San Diego State and Syracuse. I'm going to trust Jaden Boeheim's Syracuse defense. I'm going to trust them. I think that they're going to move on to the next round, and you're going to see a much improved team there, and you're going to see them move on to the next round. Morehead State and West Virginia. West Virginia moves on. Clemson and Rutgers. I got Clemson, and then here I got Houston, kind of rounding out the Midwest. Now, if we move back to the next round, of course, I got Gonzaga winning. I think that they're just too deep. They're too talented. And then I got University of Virginia going in there. I got the Jayhawks winning there, and I got Iowa winning there as well. Here we got Baylor winning it. I want to go with Texas. I think North Texas could do it, but ultimately I got to go Villanova here. Texas Tech, I think, beats Arkansas. I know that's probably going to be a shocker to a lot of people, but I think that's what it's going to be. And then, of course, you got Ohio State rounding off the Sweet 16 in the South region. If we move on now to the bottom half of the bracket, I got Michigan winning this one. And sleeper pick here, I got Georgetown actually moving on to the next round. Again, I just think that Georgetown, and the way that Patrick Ewing has his guys prepared, has them set up. I think also the fact that they didn't recognize him at Madison Square Garden, you got to go with the Hoyas there. Are they the Hoyas? I might be wrong on that. Let me just double check. Georgetown Hoyas. Yep. They are the Hoyas. Okay. Just want to make sure I was right on that. I got Georgetown Hoyas winning that one. Again, I think that the momentum of all that, I think Patrick Ewing is going to have this why not us mentality, and you're going to see them move on to the next round. I really do think that this team is actually really talented. BYU and Texas. This one to me could be a very interesting one. Definitely different dynamics. Obviously BYU with the smaller bigs. They have more of like finesse bigs compared to Texas, who are more clanging them and bang them. But I got BYU winning this game. I think that their three-point shot is really going to carry them to the next round. As much as it hates for me to say this as a Utah Utes fan, I think BYU's got it, man. And then I got Alabama here. Alabama could be a very good team to get onto the next round. So we'll see how that goes. I got Illinois winning this. I think this one's a tough one to me because I think Georgia Tech's story and their defense is so good. But the reason why I'm picking Illinois to win this game is because I do like their offense. I think their offense is really good, and they're surrounded by a bunch of great players. If we look at kind of the players for them, you got who was it that I was trying to see here? You got Ao Donsumu. I think that he's going to be a good player. Obviously, an NBA prospect, a guy that's going to go into the NBA this year. I think that he's going to carry that team. Next, I got Cade Cunningham and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. I think that they're going to carry them to the next round. I trust his gut in that instance. West Virginia, I got moving on, and then I got Houston as well. I think Houston definitely has improved each and every year. It seems like they've gotten better and better, and that's where I'm going with kind of the bracket in that scenario. Let's see here. Moving on to the next round, let's look at here really quick as we move on to kind of the West a little bit. Here, I got Gonzaga moving on to the Elite Eight, and they're going to actually be facing Luka Garza in a rematch of this earlier this season, and we're going to find out who I pick between those two in just 1 second. I got Baylor winning this one. I think Baylor's too good. And here I got an upset. I've got Texas Tech winning this one, and I think Texas Tech could definitely make a huge push in this bracket. You know, this side is not necessarily that hard. I think Wisconsin gives a lot of trouble to Baylor. I think Baylor survives. Baylor again survives Villanova, and then they face Texas Tech in the next round, and I'll let you know who I have in that scenario there. Here we have on the east side, we've got Michigan State and Georgetown, and we got Alabama and BYU. Here, I've got Michigan winning it. I think Juwan Howard has done a tremendous job, and I think he wants to rectify the Fab Four, you know, with him, Jalen Rose, Chris Webber, and all of them. I think that they're going to get back to that Elite Eight game. And here, I want to say I got him, but I got BYU actually going in and beating Alabama. I think the three-point shot for BYU is going to carry them to the next round, and you're going to definitely see this going on for BYU getting to the Elite Eight in that scenario. Now we got Oklahoma State, Illinois versus West Virginia and Houston. I've got an upset alert. I got Oklahoma State and Cade Cunningham beating Illinois and actually winning that game. And then, of course, I got West Virginia, which should be proved to be a really great matchup. I believe this is another Big 12 matchup, if I'm not mistaken, between these two. And again, you know, we got a lot of predictors, a lot of people predicting that Oklahoma State could win this matchup. I just have Oklahoma State. I think Cade Cunningham is the real deal. I think that's the way I'm going. So that is where I am going to lead towards as it pertains to where I see the Cowboys at in this postseason. Now, moving on to the final, or to the, what is this? This is the Elite Eight, right? Because we're not on the Final Four yet. This is the Elite Eight. This is where it gets a little spicy here. I'm going to save that one for a little bit later. I've got Baylor winning this one. Baylor's going to make it to the Final Four. Here, I've got Michigan. As much as I want to go with BYU the whole way, I just think that Michigan's too good. I think that they're going to carry it. And again, it's never a good sign when you have two #1 seeds as your Final Four, because we all know that the NCAA tournament is a complete and utter chaotic mess. It's a win and you're in. It's one of those situations that I just see this kind of being the bracket that I'm going with. And again, I got Oklahoma State making it to the Final Four, beating Baylor, and again, another Big 12 matchup. Now, this is where it gets a little spicy and a little bit interesting. Gonzaga and Iowa, another rematch where I think, and Sean and anybody that is a Gonzaga fan watching, I want to apologize in advance. But I got Iowa winning. And the reason why I have Iowa winning is because I think in my heart of heart, and this is just a prediction, this is just a gut feeling, I think Drew Timme is going to cost the Gonzaga team a chance at going to the Final Four once again. I know this is a crazy pick. I know that Gonzaga has been playing so good. They're undefeated. You know, the last time I believe an undefeated team went to the NCAA tournament was that 2015 Kentucky team that ended up winning the championship. Now, I'm not saying that this won't be the year that Gonzaga could potentially win it, but I just think that when you give a coach another opportunity to scout you, another opportunity to get you going, I think Iowa might have a chance to get to the next round. I think Luka Garza, besides kind of Corey Kispert as kind of like the senior or the, you know, the older classman of the NCAA tournament, I just think that Luka Garza, you know, this just smells Luka Garza written all over, and I think that Luka Garza is going to beat Gonzaga in a rematch to get them to the Final Four. Now, of course, we got the Final Four. We've got Iowa, Michigan, and we got Baylor, Oklahoma State. You know where I'm going with this? I got Oklahoma State winning this matchup. I think that Oklahoma State, they have, I believe, beaten them before, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look this up just to double check, but I do believe that they have beaten them before. State, if I'm not mistaken, let's look basketball, not so much the other sports. The first game was postponed. Obviously, they played again. They played February 20th. They haven't beaten them yet, but I just, for some reason, I'm having a strong gut that Oklahoma State can do it. I know that Baylor is a great team. I understand that. But third time's the charm. I'm going with Oklahoma State going into the national championship game. Now, as it pertains to Michigan and Iowa, this one to me is going to be a very tough matchup. I think it's going to be a good one. But I think Luka Garza falls short, and I think Michigan gets to the title game, and you got a Michigan versus Oklahoma State final. Now, again, this might be controversial to a lot of people. It may be controversial. But, and again, to kind of round off everything, to kind of finish everything. Let me just make sure I'm back online with everybody. All right, cool. We're online. Everything's good. All righty. Now, for the final pick, I've got to go with Oklahoma State. I got this to be the final score of 75-70. We're going to enter in all these sweepstakes, but this is my bracket winner. Again, I'll fill this out a little bit later off camera. But again, just to reiterate, guys, I have Oklahoma State winning the NCAA tournament. And I do think that Cade Cunningham is going to be the reason why they win this NCAA tournament. I think that they've been playing so well. I understand that Cade Cunningham at this point is a one-man show. But again, I do think that Oklahoma State can win this game. I think that they can win this. And again, I could be wrong about Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga, obviously a great team. Jalen Suggs, Corey Kispert, Drew Timme. But I still think that Drew Timme is going to cost the Gonzaga Bulldogs that game in Iowa because they're going to foul Luka Garza. Something's going to happen there. Another Luka Garza moment. And I think Iowa squeaks by in that game. And again, we see the matchups. I think everybody has Gonzaga here. But I think it's a lot closer than I think a lot of people predict. And again, this will be a very fun matchup. And it looks like, number one seeds are 35-30 against number one versus number two. So, with that being said, I have Oklahoma State not only carrying Cade Cunningham off into the sunset to go to the NBA, and potentially play for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He will also be an NCAA champion, and I think it kind of goes to show you that Cade Cunningham is going to show you why he is a generational talent. But again, that is just my prediction. That is just my picks. But let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys make of all this? Do you guys agree with my bracket? Do you disagree? I know my Gonzaga friends are going to very vehemently disagree with my bracket, and that is A-okay. But anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie, here on The Charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming onto the stream, for watching the bracket, for looking at everything. Appreciate each and every one of you. I think that this is going to be a very fun NCAA tournament. And again, not to discourage what we just talked about a little bit earlier, but again, the Boston Celtics always disappoint each and every year. And that's something that you can look forward to time after time. But anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie, here on The Charge, giving you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And again, guys, please remember to hit that like button. And also, please remember to hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. Of course, the more subscribers, the more likes, the more that people are willing to tune in and check out The Charge. But anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again for joining me here on The Charge, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.